OMG, this is actually really hot around here. But anyway though, hey everybody, this is me, Sonic the Hedgehog here, and I'm Sylvester here. We are back for the Maxi Toys, and welcome back to Mario Play of Super Mario 3D World for the Nintendo Wii U. So last time though, we actually fully accomplished with the first world in the game, and today for this episode we're about to be moving on into World 2, and then basically we can actually do the exact same thing. We're gonna have to complete every single levels how this game offers, and eventually we get some more green stars along the way, because you know, much like Super Mario 3D Land, in order to access to these new levels, even progress for the game, you need to be sure to get every single green stars as possible. So anyway, so the first level in World 2 is Condor Canyon, which I'm presuming that's what this level is actually going to be called in here. So anyways, let's go ahead and jump in. So for this level, I believe we're going to be using Toad for this level, so even then though, that, yeah, we're going to have to select him. So even then though, it has been a while since we actually play as him, since the fourth level in the entirety of Super Mario 3D World. So even then though, let's go ahead and get started. Now, you know that if you've been following through Captain Toad Treasure Tracker, you know the bonus books that you can actually play as from. That's one of those levels that you can play this level as Captain Toad from, and same goes to how it does it in the Super Bell Hill, if I do recall correctly. But even then though, except the fact that we're going to be playing through these entire levels again, but except we're going to be playing through either Mario, Luigi, Peach, or the Blue Toad version, because normally speaking it's such that Captain Toad doesn't normally jump throughout. But even then though, the only way that Captain Toad can actually scale for this level, especially the previous level, the Super Bell Hill, and even the other two levels we'll get into now in a moment, which are clear pipes, which, you know, Captain Toad can only go for these clear pipes rather than just jumping from platform to platform. So, if you couldn't tell already, this is actually the secret room, which this is things that allows you, if you actually access to the, if you turn on the P switch on, that way this will actually give you a whole abundance of coins. Even then though, it's a pretty nifty room if you're actually trying to grind for those lives easier. So anyway though, so let's go ahead and just grab ourselves some bunch of red coins and get ourselves the spare cat power up. Even then though, we actually come across into those new type enemies introduced in this particular title. Although I believe these guys, in this case, are Condors, which are essentially, these are the enemy names. Even then though, that these enemies do make a return from Mario Party Star Rush for the 3DS. Even then though, like these bird enemies for example. So even then though, that if you as soon as you immediately approach into them, they'll try to beak you. So even then though, you have to stay sharp for that. For the second green star, all you have to do is you have to let this Condor just trying to destroy those solid blocks. So even then, if you actually try to do this while doing so, this will award you just a green star. So yeah, that's pretty simple really. And then I believe if you actually approach it up there, if you actually go for those little sinks down, then yeah, it will increase your timer. And taking a note from New Super Mario Bros. 2 for Nintendo 3DS is that this game has the second appearance of this little, although similar to Super Mario 3D Land as well, but even then though, we have ourselves a bit of a magical question mark block, which allows you to actually, every time you walk, then you get some coins in the process. So yeah, there's the third and final green star. What happens is that you have to save Captain Toad from that little Condor enemy. And even then though, that's actually represents from the Captain Toad Treasure Tracker's end of the level. Like usually after when Captain Toad managed to get himself the green star on that one particular segment, and that was actually right near to where the Condor is. Even though I don't think Captain Toad come across into this area because obviously you can't jump. So yeah, that was it. But again, usually speaking such that Captain Toad Treasure Tracker was supposed to be a prequel to Super Mario 3D World, because that's where it normally takes place before or afterwards. So anyways, that's that level. And now we're going to come across into another two level. Oh, great. Looks like the Bowser statue just blocked it. And yes, this is why we need to get ourselves some tons of green stars to begin with. And before you actually move on to the World 2, however, this will actually allows you to access these Miiverse posts. You know that back in New Super Mario Bros. U, that in order to get to Miiverse posts in New Super Mario Bros. U, and also New Super Luigi U as well, that you must able to complete the first tower level in New Super Mario Bros. U. But even then though, in Super Mario 3D World, in order to access to these Miiverse posts, you got to be sure, I believe you're gonna have to complete the first level in World 2, I'm presuming. So anyways, let's go ahead and access this second level right here. In order to access to it, as usual, we're gonna have to collect every single green stars as you can get. So anyways, World 2-2, Puff Road Peaks, which in this level's gimmick though, is gonna be a lot of usage on Wii U gamepad functions, because usually speaking as such though, just like Captain Toad Treasure Trackers, that we're gonna have to be most of the time use a lot of Wii U gamepad features. So take this level for example, that you can see this little tapping the Wii U gamepad symbol, which that means this allows you to actually interact with what's going on in the level, even for the entire platform. So if I tap onto that little Wii U gamepad right here, that way it will allows you to activate certain platforms and stuff like that. So even then though, it's a little bit interesting. And yeah, if we go down here, this is where we get ourselves the next stamp. So even then though, we're getting so far ahead from this game. So even then though, unlike in Super Mario 3D Land, although I think we did, I'm not exactly sure, but even then though, I'm pretty sure that, I can't remember what I think about it right now. But anyway though, so let's go ahead and access to up here, so even then when you have to scale for those, you know, tapping these glowing blocks, and then that way, this allows you to actually go up. So even then though, if you actually tap it again, this will actually goes off. And then I believe the same goes how it does it when you leave it for a few seconds. And then they'll just go back into flat again. So that's how it usually goes with this level's gimmick. And also another gimmick that is actually influenced by is that very similar to how it does it in Captain Toad Treasure Track, is the fact that you can actually just blow into your microphone onto the Wii U gamepad and let the you know, these platforms can go blow about. And even though what's great about this is that, although it's kind of funny actually, because once you do a commentary of this Let's Play, that every time when you're trying to speak, that sometimes it always seems to actually just to get responsive with all this speaking and such. So even then, that's actually really handy right there. Even then, sometimes we're gonna have to like use the Wii U gamepad to get closer to my face. Yeah, usually for my face as well though, Sonic. But anyway, so here's another Cloud Cannons, and this way, this will actually lead us to not only the second green star, but also grind for some more extra lives. I can't believe we actually almost wrapped up into 22 1-ups at this point, but again, it's actually really easy to get 1-ups in this game, so just like in 3D Land and even, Galaxy 2. But even then though, much like Super Mario Sunshine, and especially Super Mario 3D Land, you can keep as many lives as you can, which is really handy. You know, unlike in 64 and especially 64 DS, Galaxy and Galaxy 2, every time when you restart the whole entire data file, or in this case when you're trying to, every time when you start the game up, in this case your progression of your file, sometimes you always have to let your lives count restart back into 5 lives, which is always a bit of a pain, but I don't mind too much though. It's not the entire premise of how this actually, you know, I don't have many issues with that. So anyways though, so let's go ahead and finish up the level while just actually scaling for those glowing blocks with the usage of this Wii U gamepad. Actually, let's not go ahead and do this particular method. I'm going to be using the cat power-up, in this case a Cat Mario power-ups, even then we can actually, you know, get the flagpole, in this case a golden flagpole, easier. Yeah, every time when you complete any single level with the cat power-up, depends on what characters you'll be using, like Mario, Luigi, Peach, and Toad. They always trying to say meow every time. So yeah, I found it kind of cute. But anyway though. So anyways, now we got 30 green stars. Even then though, I think I should get plenty of green stars to work on with. But even then though, that's as we mentioned earlier, much like in any other 3D Mario game Let's Plays, that we're about to try to get to the 100% completion. Unfortunately though, of all the 3D Mario games we actually come across into, this is the only game that we haven't 100%ed yet. That's only because we'll explain more on that later, rather than this Let's Play in general. So anyways, here we go. On to... Oh, before we actually get into the next level, actually, let's go ahead inside this tent. It's because that every once in a while, that as soon as you're actually going to go into the future worlds and onwards, that sometimes you might end up into these little sprinkly tents, which this all allows you to actually get yourselves a freebie stamp. So yeah, it's kind of handy. So yeah, it's important to know that we have to explore these types of houses because... obviously for collecting stamps. So anyways, here we go. Level 2-3, Shadow Play Alley. So I believe this is also yet another level, makes an appearance in Captain Toad Treasure Tracker as well, with the form of obviously playing as Captain Toad in this level in the bonus books. But except the fact that obviously we'll be playing through this particular level as either Mario, Luigi, Peach, or Blue Toad. So anyways, here we have ourselves a new type of items, which was the potted piranha plants, which I believe this item do make a return in Mario Kart 8. So what this actually can do is the fact that every time when you grab him, like he was essentially in a pot formation, that you can actually use him to some certain advantages. Mainly, for example, as you can see right here, if you come towards near to the enemy, this allows the potted piranha plants can actually eat enemies, including fuzzies as well, as you can pretty saw at the moment. But anyways though, I do like this level actually, because it does remind me of something almost related to a level from Donkey Kong Country Returns, and especially Tropical Freeze, like the Silhouette levels. Like, usually, the only time it can be Silhouette is actually this sequence here, so... Yeah, because usually speaking as such, though, it's all about just shadows, which I think is a pretty interesting touch to it. You know these really familiar red doors over there? These are kind of similar shape as it does it for Super Mario Bros. 2 USA. Anyways, let's blow up this little microphone here because we need to access this area to get yourselves the second green star. Unfortunately though, we can't actually move the camera because even then though, unlike Super Mario 3D Land, it takes advantages for just a, you know, the 3D effect and what have you, and I don't think it's actually noticeable in this game this time around, because usually speaking as such though, it does have some pretty advantages from, you know, the Wii U game had features about the 3D Mario games to begin with. So anyways, before we exit out this level though, however, there was actually the final green star, and in order to get this though, it's the fact that I think you have to take down this cardboard Bowser, because if you do, then that way they'll easily just manage to cheer up Captain Toad, and this is the one point that Captain Toad managed to discover this green star in Captain Toad Treasure Tracker in that particular level, so that's how he ended up getting it. So even then, it's a nice little thing. So anyways, let's go ahead and finish up the level while actually, you know, just getting up to the flagpole, and that's all you do. Hooray! Victory is ours. Yep, indeed it could. So yeah. Alright, that's it for that, and now we move on to the next level, which I believe the next level coming up, it was actually a bit more based off of the E3 2013 level, which we'll get into now in a second. But anyways though, so let's see how much green stars we actually got. I think we got about 33, jeez, we got 33 green stars now. But I digress though, so, oh yeah, there's the slot machine. We totally forgot to mention about the slot machine though, so even then I'm presuming we can actually showcase that. So, yeah, you remember how it does it back in the bonus games from Super Mario Bros. 3, that you're gonna have to match the exact same shape pattern in order to get some grinding some 1-ups? This game is actually very similar to how it does it for the bonus chance slots in Super Mario Bros. 2 USA, even though we already mentioned Super Mario Bros. 2 USA a lot, because it's almost very similar, but in 3D, rather than 2D playing. But even then though, that you can actually just use 4 different slots, and every time you match those 4 slots in a row, the most luckiest one out of all is definitely the Cat Bell power-up, and I believe this will actually gives you 777 coins. In this case, lucky 7. So anyway, we'll explain more on that until when we actually revisit to that particular minigame. It happens in every single world every time when you complete any of those levels. So anyways, here we're on to level 2-4, Really Rolling Hills. It's almost like a sequel to Rolling Yoshi's Yoshi Hills from New Super Luigi U. Well, except the fact that unfortunately though, Yoshi was not in this game, so... Anyways, the reason why we switched back to Mario is because, not to mention though, that we'll come in towards that until we actually get into in a second, is the fact that you probably noticed this little familiar button. That's only because you need to be the specific characters in order to actually access to this particular switch, until when you activate one of those switches, this will allow you to give you a stamp, which, usually sometimes most levels that it's only required to use some different amount of characters in order to access to these switches. Like for instance, in Really Rolling Hills, in order to get the stamp on that level, you have to be Mario in that particular level, and that way you can actually activate the switch. But if you use Luigi, Peach, or Toad on that particular level in order to get that stamp, you probably end up not getting it. Ah, what? How come that Micro Goombas actually hurt us now? I thought they would temporarily stun you, or in this case they're trying to not let you move for a moment, or in this case just trying to jump higher enough. Well, I guess Micro Goombas can now actually hurt you now. Well, that's kind of lame if you ask me. But yeah, I believe that, as far as I remember rightly, back in E3 2013, this is one of the first ever levels to actually feature in the E3 2011, no, not 11, E3 2013 appearances as the Super Mario 3D World playable demo. But even then, they showcased only 5 levels, and I believe we haven't mentioned about the, level 1-4, which is essentially the Plissier's, you know, plunging falls. There's another level that is usually based off it from the demo. But even then, though, there's also a couple of levels in there as well. But even then, we'll get to that. Ah, you gotta be kidding me. So anyway, so the second green star, all we have to do is have to actually activate all of these colored switches. And then when they all light up, this means the green star will actually appear on top of the staircase. And there we go. Not too bad, actually. I highly recommend you do a ground pound ability, because just in case you actually just makes it itself a bit easier with that little parts. So anyways, the third and final green star is actually right down there. It doesn't matter if you actually fall down here, because it's pretty much safe around here, so... At least if I remember rightly, unlike in the E3 2011 version of Super Mario 3D Land, the level 1-2, that does contain one giant bottomless pit. You know this little rotating platform, and there's also the first star medal in there? If you've been looking on that until in the past, then you should know what I'm talking about. But anyway, that's it for Really Rolling Hills, one of the levels that is usually based off of the E3 2013 demos. But yeah, it's kinda cool. And yeah, as I mentioned earlier, there's gonna be another 3 levels. We'll get into that sooner or later, as soon as we progress for the Let's Play. So, anyway, that's that done. Now we move on into a new level, in this case a newer type level that, oh yeah, one thing we haven't mentioned is the fact that every time when you actually complete one of those levels, you can definitely see the Miiverse post, just like how it does it every time when you die in New Super Luigi U or New Super Mario Bros. U, then you can actually just about to see of how much the fact that you can actually see the Miiverse posts every time. So anyways, we have ourselves an enemy blockable, another one of these enemy blockable here. But even then though, we're gonna have to deal with the big Gloombella, which is pretty much a returning enemy from Super Mario World, I'm assuming. So even then though, that all we have to do now is just take those guys down in huge form. Oh god. Since every now and then we have to switch to Toad now, so even then though it gets a little bit trickier for Toad, because obviously his jump is actually a little bit weaker compared to Luigi's or Peach's for that matter. But his top speed is actually humongously huge. From the looks of the you know, the speed and stuff. So anyways, that's that. And now we move on to the next actual level, which is onto these little, you know, the question mark block panels. So even then though, every time when you see one of those, this means you're actually going to access to the next level. So that's all there is to know. So I believe we're going to be using Peach for this next level, because obviously we're going to be doing that just as that. So yeah, and every time when you actually get closer to those Mii characters, it shows you the Miiverse posts as well in during the world maps, which I think is kind of cool. And strangely enough though, they're in fairy forms or sprinkly formations. I don't know why though, but Double Cherry Pass, level 2-5, and as we mentioned earlier, we're going to be using Peach for this level. Because obviously I think we haven't played as Peach for this world, so even then let's just go ahead and say now I think we'll have to play as her in this level though, so there's gonna be a lot of times we're gonna have to switch between different playable characters and stuff, so even then that's probably main suggestions. So, god dang it. So anyways, we have ourselves a new power-up introduced in this particular game, and that is the form of the Double Cherry power-up, which just allows you, if you've been following through our Let's Play of Captain Toad Treasure Tracker before... I still kept on running on enemies! I hate doing that. Anyway though. So, yeah, what the Double Cherry power-up can do is that it allows you to actually create a double gangers of yourselves, which I think is quite, really handy if you've been following through our Let's Play of Captain Toad Treasure Tracker before in, Double Cherry Palace. That one of those levels that you're gonna have to use that, power-up and stuff. I kinda wish it has that power-up return in, some future spin-off Mario titles, mainly the upcoming Mario Kart 9 on Nintendo Switch possibly. Although I don't know if that's the case, because even then it did briefly showcase the port of Mario Kart 8. Anyways, for this particular sequence right there, this is important to actually know we need to use our Double Cherry power for this, because obviously there are plenty of times where there's some green stars requires you to use the Double Cherry power up to begin with. So Once you collect quite enough of these double cherry power-ups, that you can actually create even more doppelgangers of yourself. Mainly, you can actually create up to, I probably should say, 5 or 6, or I think that's about it. Let's see how this goes. So anyways, for the level stamp, you're gonna have to use the, obviously the double cherry power-up for this particular part, because obviously you're gonna have to deal with the cooperation with, you know, just cloning ourselves to each other. So even then, though, that's probably essentially how this is gonna be the case of this part, so... Anyway though, so let's go ahead and navigate ourselves although, oh god, I can't keep up with the other clones of ourselves. Even though we could able to potentially try to do that. Oh god, this is bad. This is so bad. God dang it. Yeah, one annoying thing about this game though, unlike how it does in the other 3D Mario games, is the godforsaken camera, because... Usually speaking of such though, that's usually the kind of stuff though that, although we don't have any problems with camera controls in the other 3D Mario games because I feel it's really good and responsive. However, unfortunately, that doesn't seem applies to this though, however, unfortunately, because there are some other times though, especially if you play some multiplayer, the camera never keep up with the others. Even then though, it keeps like, keep a distance as far away as possible with these other players, which I think is a kind of a little bit of an annoying situation. But anyway, unfortunately though, we haven't got ourselves the third and final green star, because in order to get there, however, you need to get your clones up to 4. So, in this case, folks, we're gonna have to cut this point right here until we actually successful getting the third and final green star. So we'll be right back at the end. Oh yeah, one thing we haven't mentioned, the fact that if you're actually trying to revisit some of these levels, you can actually race against with these little ghost memes right there, as you can clearly see on screen. Usually it comes from different people and stuff, so yeah, it's kind of interesting. It does remind me of something almost related to the ghost data from Super Mario Galaxy 2, excluding if you're only going to be using Luigi, but then again, it's mostly due to, yeah. So yeah, you're gonna have to be sure you need to get 4 clones with you, so that way you can get a third and final green star. So when you meet you guys back in the world map. Alright, we are back from the world map yet again, and hopefully it should be good to go from this part. So even then, before we actually get into the next castle level, let's go ahead and do the first mystery box type of level. We have a new level type. In this case, level 2-mystery box, mystery house melee. This melee name sounds very familiar for that name, because it's heavily borrowed for that particular name from the popular Nintendo GameCube title, for a launch title anyway, from Super Smash Bros. Melee. That's interesting. So yeah, what these mystery houses can do is the fact it feels very similar to how it does in the actual mystery house stuff from Super Mario 3D Land, but except the fact that for one, it's basically a endurance run for getting those green stars first things first, and 2, that every time when you complete one of those rooms on these mystery houses, sometimes you're gonna have to go into these different rooms. Like for instance, for this first sequence, or in this case the first ever mystery house level, is the fact that we have to deal with these enemies. Sometimes they bring out something different to the table, but even then we'll get into those until later. So, oh yes, we actually got ourselves the legendary Cat Bell power-up. Man, I love that power-up so much. In fact, it's actually a little bit more really welcoming and handy, especially this, you know, trying to actually deal with some unique abilities and stuff. Anyway, so we're going to be doing the final enemy to deal with, and that was the form of the Fire Bros. And there we go. So yeah, for the most part though, every time when you collect those green stars, you'll be moving on to the next area of the mystery houses, and then I believe if you get all the green stars, then the level's completed. Because, if you can tell, you need to keep an eye on the time limit, just like how it does in the mystery boxes from Super Mario 3D Land. If the time runs out, though, however, you have to restart the whole sequence again. So yeah, that's one thing you have to actually notice by that. Luckily, though, if your time runs out, you don't lose your life, luckily, though. But we'll discuss that more when we get into that. But anyway, level 2 tank level, which is a kind of a different, level theme for its own thing once. Bowser's Bullet Bill Brigade. Let's see. Let's go ahead and choose. You know what? Let's let Luigi. It's time for Luigi's time to shine for this particular end of the level's world. So yeah, just like how it does in Super Mario 3D Land, you're going to be seeing these sequences a lot every time when you're actually going to travel through some different vehicle levels. I don't think this game actually has the airship fortress this time around, or in this case the airship levels. So instead it's actually replaced as the tank level, which is very similar to how it does it back in Super Mario Bros. 3. However, unlike Super Mario Bros. 3, it's obviously in 3D environments rather than a 2D plane, which I actually really don't mind how the tanks do make its appearance, or the tank levels make it introduced in this game. So, we have ourselves yet another new item to actually use it. That is the form of the cannon box, and this allows you to actually fire cannonballs at specific parts and stuff. So even then though, that if you see those flashing skull boxes, mainly the cannon boxes, then you can actually use those to actually just use some of your advantages. Like for instance, as you can see on the top part of the screen, that you can tell that we actually grab ourselves the green star thanks to that cannon shot, which is really, really handy. And secondly, that you probably noticed is that in order to actually just to build up to your cannon shot, you have to be sure you have to hold down the Y button or the X button for that matter, like let's say a few seconds, and then that way this will allows you to build up your cannon shot. And then if you let go of the X and Y buttons, however, you probably ended up letting the cannonball shoot automatically, like, all the time. So anyways, the level stamp is pretty obvious, gonna have to climb up all the way up there. And it's a good thing that since we still keep ourselves the cannon box to begin with, because the third and final green star is the fact that we need to acquire the cannon box for this particular part, because if you couldn't tell with this Bowser mark right there, we have to destroy that wall, and that way, there you go. There's the third and final green star. And yeah, it's important we need to get ourselves a cannon box to begin with, because if not though, however, you won't able to get it. Hey, Baboon, how's it going, buddy? It has been a while, isn't it, since New Super Mario Bros. U and New Super Mario Bros. U and New Super Luigi U for that matter. But even then though, that he's back in full force just like how it does in the Super Mario 3D Land, but even then though, that he's pathetically easy, just like last time. So even then though, I'm guessing he must have used something different for a change? Oh, I completely forgot about the camouflage ability that he's using. Every time though, every time when he gets to the last hit point or something like that, now he has his new move, such as a camouflage. So even then though, that you can't really tell where you can actually see his shell animations. Even then though, sir, that this boss fight is really, really easy, just like in Super Mario 3D Land predecessor. Anyways, there's the second Sprinkly Princess here to save, which is essentially the yellow color in that case. And World 2 is fully completed, and every time when we actually get ourselves the 1-up, thanks to that little cannonball block that we immediately replace as a 1-up, so even then though, that we got ourselves, you know, I can't remember how much lives we got at this point. I'm pretty sure it's more likely 30 or more 1-ups. Although we'll find out as soon as we actually get into it. So yeah, 2 Sprinkly Princesses have been saved, and according to this particular point, that there might be 7 Sprinkly Princesses to save. So anyways, let's see the yellow Princess Sprinkly. She's gonna actually fix up the, you know, the clear pipe to get to World 3. Which is the next world we're about to be exploring on. And truth be told, the clear pipe is now fixed and saved. Nice little sparkling effects in the background. So I believe every time when this happens is that obviously that the clear pipes themselves is now entirely fixed. Now we move on to World 3, which will immediately takes place in the ice level, or the ice world environment. But the Sprinkly Princess color for this world is the blue, so yeah. So we're just gonna have to end things off here, so join us next time on Let's Play Super Mario 3D World. It's the fact that we're moving on into World 3, so things could get a little more hectic. So okay, see you guys next time. Later, fellas.